Tonight, the night felt unusually quiet. Not empty, not lonely, just quiet in a gentle, thoughtful way. Emma sat near the window of her small apartment, watching the soft glow of streetlights outside. Rain had stopped only a few minutes ago, and the streets were still shining, reflecting the golden lights like tiny rivers of warmth. She wrapped her hands around a warm cup of tea and listened to the silence. Sometimes, silence feels heavy, but tonight it felt peaceful, almost as if the world itself was waiting for something to happen, waiting for something to change. Emma didn't know why she felt that way. She only knew that something inside her heart felt different. Soft, open, hopeful. She looked at her phone again. Still no new messages. She smiled quietly. She wasn't expecting one. Not really. But still, somewhere deep inside her heart, she was hoping. Because sometimes the smallest message can change everything. A few weeks earlier, Emma's life had felt ordinary, comfortable, predictable, safe. She worked in a quiet bookstore near the old part of the city, a place filled with warm wooden shelves, soft music, and the gentle scent of paper and stories. It was the kind of place where people walked slowly, where voices stayed calm, where time itself seemed to move more gently. Emma loved that place. She loved recommending books to strangers. She loved watching people discover stories that would stay with them forever. And sometimes, she loved simply sitting behind the counter, turning pages of her own favorite novels while rain tapped softly against the windows. Life there felt peaceful, but sometimes peaceful can feel close to lonely. And Emma knew that feeling well. One quiet evening, just before closing time, a man walked into the bookstore. Not quickly, not loudly, just quietly, as if he already understood that this place deserved silence. Emma looked up. Their eyes met for just a moment, and something strange happened. Not dramatic, not sudden, just warm, like recognizing someone you had never met before. He smiled gently. "Do you have something calm to read?" he asked softly. "Something for late nights?" Emma smiled back. "Yes," she said. "I think I know exactly what you need." She walked slowly between the shelves, her fingers brushing the spines of familiar books, until she found one. When she handed it to him, their fingers almost touched, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. Sometimes silence says more than words. His name was Daniel. He told her that before leaving. Just one sentence. "I'm Daniel." And then he smiled again. Emma watched him walk toward the door, watched the rain beginning outside again, watched him disappear into the quiet night. She didn't know why, but she remembered his name. Not because she tried, but because her heart did. Over the next few days, Daniel returned. Not every day, not always at the same time, but often enough that Emma began to notice. Sometimes he bought a book. Sometimes he only walked slowly through the shelves. Sometimes he stayed longer than necessary, as if he didn't want to leave yet. And sometimes they talked. About stories, about music, about quiet evenings, about the comfort of rain. Their conversations were simple, but gentle. And slowly, something inside Emma began to change, something warm, something hopeful, something new. Then one evening, Daniel didn't come. Emma didn't think much about it at first. People get busy, life happens, days change. But then another evening passed, and another, and another. The bookstore felt different without him. Quieter, not peaceful quiet, lonely quiet. Emma told herself it didn't matter. She told herself it was nothing, just a stranger, just a visitor. just someone passing through her days. But her heart did not agree. A week later, while closing the bookstore, Emma found something unexpected. A book left on the counter, the same book she had once recommended to Daniel. Inside the book, there was a small folded note. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it, and inside, there was only one sentence. "I hope this story reminded you of me." Emma read it again, and again, and again. Her heart began to beat faster, because sometimes one simple message can change everything. Emma held the small note carefully, as if it was something fragile, something important, something alive. "I hope this story reminded you of me." She whispered the words again quietly, and suddenly, the quiet bookstore no longer felt empty. It felt full of memories, full of conversations, full of moments she hadn't realized were so special. She looked around the shelves slowly, the same shelves, the same warm lights, the same soft music playing in the background. But everything felt different now, because sometimes one sentence can open a door inside your heart. That night, Emma couldn't stop thinking about Daniel. Not only about his smile, not only about his voice, but about the way he listened. The way he noticed small things. The way silence between them always felt comfortable, not awkward, not uncertain. Just calm. Just warm. Just right. She placed the note carefully inside her pocket, and for the first time in many weeks, she walked home with a quiet feeling of hope. The streets were peaceful. Streetlights reflected softly on the wet pavement. The air smelled fresh after rain, and the moon was shining above the rooftops like a quiet witness to everything that was changing inside her heart. The next morning, Emma arrived earlier than usual. She didn't tell herself why. She didn't need to. Sometimes the heart already knows. She opened the bookstore door, turned on the lights, placed books carefully on the display table, and waited. Not nervously, just quietly, just patiently, just hopefully. Hours passed slowly. Customers came and left. Pages turned. Soft music continued playing, but Daniel didn't appear. Emma told herself it was fine. He might come later, or tomorrow, or another day. Still, she touched the folded note inside her pocket again, just to make sure it was real. Late in the afternoon, as golden evening light began filling the windows, the door opened softly. Emma looked up, and there he was, standing near the entrance, smiling the same gentle smile she remembered so clearly. Daniel. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Sometimes silence is the most honest language. "You found my message," he said quietly. Emma nodded. "Yes." She paused. "I read it many times." Daniel smiled a little wider. "I hoped you would." He walked closer slowly, not too quickly, not too carefully, just naturally, as if every step already knew where it belonged. "I wasn't sure if I should write it," he admitted softly. "But sometimes, one message is necessary." Emma looked at him with warm eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "Sometimes it is." They stood there for a moment, between shelves filled with stories written by strangers who once felt the same emotions. And somehow, that made everything feel even more real, even more possible, even more beautiful. "Would you like to walk with me tonight?" Daniel asked quietly. Emma didn't answer immediately, not because she was unsure, but because she wanted to remember this moment. The moment everything changed, the moment hope became real. Then she smiled. "Yes," she said softly, "I would like that." They left the bookstore together as evening slowly turned into night. The city was calm again. Streetlights glowed gently. Windows shone with warm golden light. And somewhere above them, the moon watched quietly as two people walked side by side, a little closer than before. Not strangers anymore, not visitors, not temporary moments. Something more, something real. They walked slowly through quiet streets, talking softly about small things that somehow felt important. Favorite books, favorite places, favorite memories, and the quiet dreams they had never told anyone before. Because sometimes, when the right person listens, even silence becomes a conversation. Near the old bridge over the small river, they stopped. The water reflected the moonlight like silver glass. Daniel looked at Emma gently. "I almost didn't leave that message," he admitted. "I thought maybe it was too simple." Emma smiled softly. "No," she said, "it was exactly right." They stood there quietly, listening to the soft sound of water moving slowly beneath the bridge. And in that peaceful moment, Emma understood something important. Sometimes love doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes it doesn't hurry. Sometimes it doesn't surprise you suddenly. Sometimes it begins with one message, one smile, one quiet evening walk, one simple moment that changes everything forever. Emma looked up at the moon shining above the quiet river, and for the first time in a long time, her heart felt calm. Not lonely, not uncertain, just calm. Because sometimes the message you were waiting for was already on its way to you, even before you knew you were waiting. And somewhere in the quiet night, under the gentle moonlight, two people continued walking together toward a story that had only just begun.